because we were in the same party, but we never even looked at each other.
Things, and I went to bed, and next morning I woke up, he had messaged you. Kind of just start.
It happened pretty much like that.
It doesn't. You don't want them to know that. Okay. Well, it'll be our secret.
So what was odd about us is I saw how equally yoked we were, but it wasn't a stationary thing. Yeah, I saw where we having conversation, yeah. And if I could see where she doesn't know exactly where I'm going with something, I could explain. She's like, "Oh, that makes sense," because such. And now she's telling me something, and I'm like, boom, and I'm growing with her. And we saw where even though we would still continue to be growing, because hopefully everybody continues to grow, right?
Yeah, and that was a big thing for us, is not to be stagnant where you are in life. Like, what are your dreams? What are your aspirations? Where do you want to go? Does this fit together? Are you willing to make some sacrifices for us to do what we were called to do, and we did, and no regrets. No regrets. God has truly
no regrets, no deletes.
No deletes. God has truly blessed our union. We knew that from the very beginning, but now he's beginning to show it even more publicly. Mm-hmm. We did have to mend the fence with our families about the whole not telling. They were really upset, and a lot of people were upset. The kids are upset. They were very upset.
We didn't even tell the kids.
Yeah.
They knew we were dating, but they didn't know.
And they had met each other.
And they were getting along.
Yeah. We have 8 together, and so we have 3 girls that are 2 of them are the same age. They're 13, and 1 is 15. Mm-hmm. And so those girls 11 and yeah, from the moment they met each other, though, they were in love with each other. It's like a slumber party at our house every time they got together. And it was so new in the beginning. They were kind of feeling each other out, but there was no challenges that people have with blended families with the kids coming in. We didn't have any of that. So we knew that was also a confirmation. But, outside influences, also with families play a role in their disappointment. And we didn't really see that one coming. So we had to deal with that, and we had to talk to the girls and give them their time to kind of, they weren't mad. They weren't mad at each other.
No.
And they weren't necessarily mad that we were together and they felt like we shouldn't be. They were just upset that they weren't a part of it, or they didn't know.
Because I think because they approved of it so much so quickly, which shocked them as well, that they wish that they were part of the actual wedding.
I think that's maybe the one little thing we would have tweaked. Yeah.
Because literally we had like a coming to Jesus moment. Like, we're sitting like this, and they're sitting right there
on the bed,
and we're being talked to.
Yeah, and we were the kids, and they were the
11-year-olds and the 13-year-old, and we couldn't do nothing.
And I was like, oh.
Joined.
Yeah, they
drug it out.
And then we were like, wait a minute.
Okay,
that's enough.
Okay.
Over with.
Yeah, but
get over it.
It was a moment. We've never cussed each other out.
No. None of that.
First time for me. Okay, just be honest. Like everybody.
He doesn't disappear for hours or weeks on end or anything like that.
I don't leave. I don't have a curfew, but I don't go and leave and stay gone.
Yeah.
I'm pretty much at the house probably more than her. She goes
sounds cliche, as we really do agree to disagree.
Yeah.
On a lot of issues, and we feel like just because we counsel a lot of people and we deal with a lot of people, we feel like I need to give you more time and space to grow in that area, to counsel in that area, whether that's with someone else or definitely with God, to get there, because maybe you're not there, or maybe I'm not there, and maybe God needs to do a work in me to get me there. But in the meantime, I don't agree. Mm-hmm. This is how I feel, and we don't make each other not stick to our guns on our feelings, or how we feel about it, especially if we feel strongly about it. And he has every right to feel strongly about something, even if it's an opinion of me or how I treat him or anything. He has that right to have that. So I give him that, and he gives me that, until we get to a place and that we can resolve it, or just agree to disagree. And some things, like I said, if it's something like that we need to make a decision on quickly, we go ahead and just kind of go.
And that's normally, if it's something that it makes one or both of us feel a kind of way, because we can disagree about politics or whatever, and it doesn't really make us feel a kind of way, where we just, okay, well, I don't see that. I see this, and but some things she may feel strongly about. We disagree, but it makes her feel some kind of way.
Right.
And even though I don't agree, it don't make me feel some kind of way. So we're gonna do it your way. Not that I'm saying I'm wrong or I agree, but we're gonna do it your way because it's affecting you. Vice versa. If it's something that makes me upset or whatever, sad, depressed, whatever. I don't really get depressed, whatever it is, but if it's something like that, then she would concede to me, not because she's saying I'm right, but because I'm the one that's kind of like mentally or emotionally affected by it. And we don't. It sounds so so clinical, but it's not even that hard. It's just like I see that this is phasing her, and I'm like, okay, cool. Hey, I don't want you like that. So I mean, I don't see it, but cool.
A lot of issues where we're even going there, but I guess we'll be pretty even. And then, like, literally 5 minutes later, it's like, want to go get something to eat? You want to go bowling? You want to go see him? Like, and okay. Mm-hmm. And then
it's called LHMI. LHMI.
What is?
Let him make it. Let her make it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I got that from my business mentor years ago, and him and his wife, he was talking about it one day, and it's let him make it or let her make it. It doesn't have to. You don't have to win the argument. Okay. Why not just let her make it? Why not just let him make it?
And we're not talking about like issues that couples really need to. Some things that we do understand that couples come across. They really need to come have a solution.
Yeah. We're not saying that about cheating.
Yeah.
We're not saying that about physical violence or anything like that.
Abuse, but just a disagreement. Or drug abuse or just a disagreement or argument. Like, because I know that couples face very real challenges, and I just don't want anybody to be misled and think that everything should be swept under the carpet. But for the most part, just normal things. We live together. I mean, I never get on his nerves.
Really not true. You know. Really not true. She gets on my nerves. She does. She gets on my nerves. She does. She does. And she knows it. She knows it.
Yeah.
And
but I mean, it's
back and forth. And it's allowing, it's just allowing somebody to be human. Yeah.
But I mean, it's
said earlier that our vows were tested pretty early, that in sickness and in health. Mm-hmm. We got married in September. I was sick in January. And I was sick from January to May. Mm-hmm. And then we had a little break. And then March of 2018, he was diagnosed with cancer.
Wow.
So, it was, we both kind of took that turn. When I was sick, he basically took over everything, cooking, cleaning, making sure that the house was in order. And then when he was sick, it was the same thing. I'm really cleaning because I have to make sure that everything is together. We have a dog at this point, so adding him into the equation, making sure he's taken care of, making sure he's, at his doctor's appointments, taking his medicine on the days that he has chemo, being there. And, so I think those are probably some of the toughest.
On top of the cancer, well, because of the treatment from the chemo, then I got diabetes. So I was fighting on two fronts and still trying to keep a strong marriage.
He only did not work the day that he had chemo and maybe the Monday after. When I was sick, I went out on medical leave for maybe a month. So financially, we weren't ever without a paycheck. Either one of us. We both were,
Yeah. They told me to stay home and rest, but I was like, I got things coming at the 1st and 15th of every month. So, I don't have no other like critical disability insurance that can pick up that, so I have to work.
We did a GoFundMe, and that was a blessing. All of that went to any of the medical bills that we received. I know there was one day when he first started chemo that he had to take off for 3 or 4 days. So we were able to supplement and still pay bills. So, money was tight. And I think we're still recovering from that because he just had his final chemo treatment in July 12th. And so we're still trying to, be stable again. And it may take a minute, but we did not have some of the devastation with our finances that we've heard other couples gone through.
I think the worst was, I think I ended up maxing out just about all of my credit cards to stay afloat. So now they're all looking at me like, we need that money.
We need our money.
And so I think like that's the hardest part now, is trying to catch up with the credit cards and stuff like that.
It made us stronger. I know for me, there was a lot of God was all I had to lean on. And moments when, I was like, why is this happening to me? I knew I had to be strong for him. And so I would always tell him, I said, the fact that we have not been married that long, and 2 years, each year that we've been married, there's been some sort of illness that we've had to overcome. I said, you can't tell me that God doesn't have something major and mighty for us on the other side when this is all said and done. It's like we're going to have a story to share with people where they're going to say, wow, if they were able to overcome, in sickness and in health and richer for poor early, because you think.
We still haven't even had our honeymoon.
Yeah.
We still didn't have honeymoon.
Because when we
not been on the honeymoon.
When we started, when we got married, Harvey happened. And so it was like, okay, well, we couldn't really leave and go anywhere. And so it's like, okay, well, we'll do something, next year for spring break since I'm in education. I was sick, so we couldn't do it then. It was like, all right, well, next year we'll try for spring break again. He had cancer. So, it's been kind of one thing after the other, but it's been like, you know what? Okay, it'll happen when it's supposed to happen. But this testimony is going to be powerful, and we're going to do something mighty for the kingdom of God. And I can't wait to see what it is on the other side. And I would continually tell him that, when he was going through treatment and, he was getting down about it, I was like, you're going to overcome this, and our marriage is going to be stronger for it. And, God, if this is happening because of what's coming next.
We had like a whole prayer session at one point. We in our living room taking communion and just praying and singing old songs and stuff like that. And so they've been a huge emotional support, if anything. And those that could give. But our families are really standing behind us, and they're really surprised at how far we've come with everything given.
Yeah, we had family that would offer like, hey, if you can't take him to a chemo treatment, let us know, we'll take him. We had people that offered, hey, you need food, we'll cook. So yeah, family was there, definitely there.
Well, we would love kids, but I recently found out that I'm actually not able to have kids, and so that that knocked me down a couple steps, because I was really excited. I was like, man, I'm gonna have these kids.
Kids. Singular.
She says one, I say two.
You said 5.
No, originally I said 10. But she got me down from 10 to 5. I thought that was an achievement on her.
Yeah.
But
Compromise.
she compromised. Okay. But no, with that news, then they were like, you can do fertility and all that, and I was like, I don't want to spend all these thousands of dollars in the midnight work.
Yeah.
And so we're actually sitting down now, because I found out earlier this week, how we're going to go about this from this point on, actually having a family. We're thinking about adoption and stuff like that.
And I told him, I said, I don't think it'll matter because he's amazing with kids. Amazing. They love him. And so I said, I don't think it'll matter whether or not that kid is ours by blood or ours by, adoption, by paperwork. You're going to love them. I'm going to love them. Family is going to love them. And if we're going to be a blessing to their lives just as much as they are to ours. And it's going to be good. And I said, this is just another part of our testimony. I really believe that God is going to do something powerful with our marriage. Don't know what it's going to look like. And I'm okay with that. I'm just...
It says ladies first. I'm just saying. Oh,
okay. All right. Okay.
I call you man. I'm playing. I love you. Yeah, I'm being trouble with that. Okay. So, I personally, I want to better myself, just as a man, like learning more, getting back to the actual roots of like what it is to actually to be a true, not just a man, but a gentleman. Because like today is I know, but if I'm gonna teach somebody, then I gotta educate myself more so that then I can teach others. But and then just love my wife more because she's a good part of me. Yeah.
Yes.
I said that also so I don't have to sleep on the couch tonight.
You make me sound so horrible.
What? Yeah. I mean, at least you didn't tell me I got to sleep with the dog. But also to grow in career wise, because like I'm in the 9 to 5, but part of me wants to go ahead and start something, and just to give back more because I believe that the more you give, the more you get, and then the more I can keep giving. And so like giving is my whole forte. I'm like I give the man the shirt off my back if he asks me to. And so I want to continue and grow more in that.
And I think for me, it's being a better wife, using the Bible as a guideline to what a wife should look like, can look like, but also making sure that I'm taking care of his wants and needs in that. And also making sure that I continue to let him know that he is the best thing that ever happened to me. And that I am definitely a better person because of him. And so, finding new ways and new things to continue to show him that. So our marriage doesn't get boring as we grow and hit year 5, 25, 30, 50.
As long as I'm alive, I ain't gonna ever be bored.
That's true.
Talk to the wall. No, I'm sorry.
We'll talk to the wall.
The biggest challenge for me was getting him to appreciate God as I appreciate God, financial responsibilities, and God and financial responsibility. I think that's the biggest challenge for us. So sex, was something very, dear to me, and it was different for him. And then there was a shift to where, sex was more important to him, and to me it was like, oh, okay, well, it wasn't important to you then, so, I don't want to really have anything to do with it. So over the years, because it was a big problem in our relationship, but over the years, I guess our relationship grew so much to where, it really wasn't a problem. I truly could say that I can love him and, sex was no big deal. But now for now with our relationship now, it's the intimacy, it's the quality time, it's the spending time talking to each other. And, we talk about sex, but we're more comfortable talking about sex now. but sex is back then was sex. Now sex in our marriage is intimacy. Just, and I guess I had to go through because I had knee surgery. And when I had a knee replacement, I mean, he was there for me. And at that point, it changed everything about our relationship, because just having someone just be there in the most vulnerable part of your life, was everything. So now, we love sex, we have sex, but intimacy, quality time, that's more than we can ask for.
So, we've been together 23 years. So as far as talking to that about that, we can laugh and, have a great time and, intimate times. We joined our marriage ministry about 2 or 3 years ago. I didn't want to do it. I felt like, well, hey, what's the deal? I don't need everybody in my business, to be honest. But within the realm, we've met a group of people like-minded. They show, the leaders of the marriage ministry have been able to bring biblical principles to marriage, show us, what things are needed and how God expects us to perform those things, and the expectations of male and female. So, and making sure that we spend time together like date nights. So, you have to take out time. We have kids. So therefore, you have to make sure you take out time. And that's one of the things that really hindered us. My wife happened to be a nurse. So she worked graveyard shifts. And I would have to, get the kids to school, and she'll pick them up. And my dad was deceased a couple of days before my oldest daughter was born. And then my mom, before my second child was born, she died. So we had we didn't have the support because our family lived in Sealy. So we had to kind of do things on a different scale. We had to be together, have our own back, because we didn't have a lot of family members come and help us out. So.
I guess over the years I've grown, and I think, again, marriage ministry had a lot to do with taking it from a biblical standpoint, because I was pretty much always the one that pretty much made the most in the house. So I felt that, what I said went, and, I make my own money, so I get to do what I wanted to do. So for years and years, we ran our household like that. And during the time where we ran our household like that, we struggled. We had a lot of struggles, a lot of disagreements. But as time shifted, and as we became more involved in the church and, involved in marriage ministry, and learned how God saw the man, things shifted and things turned. Now he is he's control of the household. He decides, my daughter's in the 12th grade. I always tell her, go ask your dad. We just see things in a different way. But it took a long time, because in our society, women empowerment, I've just always felt that I didn't really need a man that I could handle that myself. And my family, they have had a lot of divorces. So of course, when I saw the divorce and I saw how the, man left, my sisters, my aunts, and it was like, wow. It just made me afraid again. So I would, pull back and, try to get my things in order. But again, like I said, that's not the way God intended it. So now I'm pretty much being submissive to him in a biblical standpoint. And it has really made our relationship better and made him feel more as, the man of the house.
And, don't get us wrong. We've had our shares of arguments. A couple of things that we did share with one another is that even though we have our disputes, we don't leave our house. We don't go to mama's house and sit there and tell her, discuss, the situation. Now, she may call her mom and talk to her mom, But as far as going to spend, like I'm leaving here, going somewhere else, we go in different rooms. Our house is large enough to where, we can go in, be in the same house, but in different spaces. But we've never, ever left, and we never, ever, after our arguments have, packed up and left. So I would kind of let married people know that I think that that's one of the things that really destroys a marriage, because if you guys are in two different places, you're going to be doing two different things, and it's kind of hard to bring back, to mend that solidarity when you feel that someone is like maybe cheating on you, or have their own agenda.